Okay, with this, we will move towards our next session, which is on the topic Next Big Step, BPO Customer Service Innovation in a Digital World. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Kartick Krishnamurthy, who is Vice President Operations at Teleperformance. Giving a brief introduction, Mr. Kartick carries over 22 plus years of affluent experience in delivering sustained positive outcomes and managing large delivery centers, spanning over 3,500 employees with a P&L responsibility of $43 million across verticals such as telecommunication, FMCG, banking, media, travel, insurance, technology, e-commerce, fintech, and utilities. With this, please welcome Mr. Kartick with a huge round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Lovely session by Dr. Nitin. I should be grateful to him that he woke everybody up, right, after that lunch. So, listen to me carefully, because after that, if I finish fast, you get to go for your tea coffee very, very quickly, right? Because right after this session is the tea coffee session. All right, so quickly, I am from Teleperformance. We are the world's, largest outsourced customer experience leaders, right? So, a few quick details. We are about 420K employees worldwide, operating out of 83 countries. India, we are about 83,000 people. Now, moving to, the topic for the day. Fast forward, next, where are we going to take this step? What are we going to do? I mean, what are we trying to invent or, innovate? Right? We all know the story. We are in the 4th generation, thanks to COVID. Like, Dr. Nitin said, see, humans do not like change, right? We need a push. Something needs to happen. Then we change. If I ask somebody to move from table A to table B, trust me, they would not want to move. That would be the first reaction. So thanks to COVID, it actually ensured that we got onto virtual platforms. Companies, thought about allowing people to work from home. Now, moving on, this is a study, from NASSCOM and Everest, and this is a recent study. It says, if you look at, we have penetrated only 27% of the outsourcing market. We are in the 4th generation today, right? And in the next 5 years, we can grow at a 6 to 8%. That's the projection for the industry. And look at the segments, right? There are some new emerging segments like trust and safety, which is poised to bring you a lot of revenues and also a whole bunch of risk management with it. And some of the emerging industries are going to be your IT services, your contact center, F&A, and because of this, we will see a huge volume outburst, which will give us business. Right, so moving on. But before we, invent or get into asking money from, somebody, we need to understand what are the business priorities? What are the companies saying today? What is the problem that they have? So most of the entrepreneurs today say that they want the business to be grown, right? Because the competition is intense. You lose customers in seconds, right? One bad review, the customer has moved to a competition, right? And because of this, what do they feel is the challenge that they have? The challenge is that there is not enough content for the employee as well as the customer, either for a self-service or to assist the customer. And how do they want to kind of take care of this? They want to move from a reactive to a proactive service. And most of the companies, almost 87% of the companies are looking to adapt something called as a value enhancement strategy, or VES. All of us have heard of NPS. Right? These are now going to go out. What we are looking at is customer effort score. How much of effort a customer has to put in to get a solution or an answer. Now, the second most topmost priority for the companies is improving operational excellence. Right? What do they want to do here? They want to achieve a seamless journey for the customer. They want to ensure the customer gets the information without having to put in too much of effort. Right? Which is basically called the effortless experience. Now, let's see what the customers are doing, right? Now, COVID brought in another shift, right? And what was that shift? Everybody got onto, virtual platforms. So we no longer, call up people. We say, hey, get on Teams, switch on your camera. I'm going to call you on WhatsApp. Let's, get on Zoom calls. And customer service is also, changing the same way. This is a study by Vonage across 14 countries. And WhatsApp has become a, communication channel. Nobody, we are more on messaging channels than on calls today, right? We use Instagram, Facebook, Hangouts, multiple various systems to message, but not to actually speak. And then obviously, chat has been there for a long time, but chat is now evolving into messaging. So I pick up from wherever I left. So morning when I was going to office, I, let's say, reached out to XYZ company about a query. Evening, I continue from the same point. All right. So while all this is happening, what is the customer really expecting? Right? Customer expects real-time solutions. Right? He wants it now, not after 48 hours. Then he wants to ensure that he gets the solution without putting in too much of effort. And this experience has to be seamless as well as personalized, which means they are not looking for generic answers. They want to know what exactly I want as a customer. And when we say seamless, we are not talking about multi-channel, right? We are talking about omni-channel, which means, let's say I was on a call, I got dropped, then I started talking to the same company on chat, right? I don't want to start the story from the beginning. I want to start from where I dropped. I don't want to spend that extra time. And the stats that we look at basically tells us that the landscape of the service landscape is changing at a very, very rapid pace. Let's take a look at this service continuum. When you look at the x-axis, what does it tell us? It tells us that as you move away from the agent, right, you are moving towards autonomous service, and this is what we are primarily wanting to achieve, right? We are trying to achieve efficiency by empowering the customer. Now, somebody was saying, what happens is suddenly, we have the discussion, we need to, bring about this change, we need to invent, we need to add tools, and we start adding tools rapidly for the customer. Now, the customer is more intelligent, he has more information. He calls you, and let's say you are the customer service agent. You don't have the answers. Why? Because let's look at the x-axis here, right? This continuum is not just for the customer. This is also for the agent. If you don't enable him, you can have 4 channels for the customer to reach your organization. But if you don't give the same 4 channels access to the agent, he's not going to be able to support. And by deploying tools, right, we are going to automatically bring in the customer effort is going to come down, the cost is going to come down, the experience is going to go up. Right? We call this, high touch. Basically, you use powerful tools, high tech. You use, powerful tools to give the right smart answers to the customers. Now, this is an example of, a real omni-channel support with predictive, call routing. When I say predictive call routing, it's not about skill routing and all that, right? What are we talking about? Customers has access to almost everything, social media, multiple channels. We give the same to the agents, right? So when the customer lands from any of these channels, the AI and the other tools decide, okay, this customer profile had this problem, and who is the right agent he should go to? Who has the right persona which matches the customer's persona to give the best outcome for this transaction, right? That's what is going to drive customer loyalty. That's what is going to drive customer retention. And this is something we call as high touch, where you create positive experiences. It's not just about answering the calls anymore. Now, we all saw the shift. Technology was considered as a nuisance. Now it is considered that it is being enabling. Similarly, there are some other changes. The content finds the customer today, right? And the channels are today decided by the customer. Customer, if I feel, I want to write on, let's say, social media, the company will still reach out to me. If I call, the company will still answer. If I send a WhatsApp, the company will still respond. So the customer decides where the actual interaction happens. And the way things are going, if we get this right, you can actually do marketing from customer service itself. You do not have to run 2 separate, divisions, right? But that's a hopeful thought. Now, what's actually happening from BPO? We can still call it BPO, or we can call it the digital hub of data, right? You have humongous amount of data getting generated, which is all landing inside BPO, and this is all real-time customer data, their experiences. We need to ensure that this data is, usable. The flow of this data is seamless, and as BPOs, we actually can leverage this data to bring in transformation. Now, just let's look at how are we going to do this. This is an adaptation from Everest and NASSCOM study, a beautiful, structure of how we can actually get it. On your right axis, you have this seamless data flowing, which is your structured and unstructured data. On the left, you have the ecosystem of your API, your innovations, and your, IoTs. And you have, 4 different layers. The end layer being the interaction layer. All this works in tandem, seamlessly to bring in the right actionable, intelligent information to an agent who can, have the fruitful conversation with the customer, or a customer who's searching for something, he gets it right then and there. Or your partners, your client is not expecting those, same kind of, MISs, dashboards which have charts. Everybody wants, insights. By insights, what do they really mean? What action do I need to take today? You got to tell me that. Now, in TP, or rather teleperformance, how do we do this? We have something called as a TAP, right? This function basically is technology, analytics, and performance excellence. Technology, we believe, is the engine which will fuel transformation, and analytics is the fuel which will, push this engine forward. And your process excellence is the guiding system for the engine as to where it should go and what goal it should meet. So today, we have built this capability with 700 people, 700 plus people workforce. These are domain experts, and we have deployed close to 10,000 plus bots and almost about 15,000 plus projects worldwide. Now, just looking at, something which I want to call it the forced adoption, right? This was the previous structure, and in some cases, this is still the structure. This is how solution happens. I get an RFP, operations does a portion of it, development team does a portion of it, IT team does a portion of it. They all go and deploy, the execution happens, and then everybody goes back. It's just the operations which is running the process, and then customer is expecting, innovation to happen, things to change, but operations cannot speak that language. With this, we will not be able to get to any kind of innovation. You can run a business as is, but what we need to bring upon is an autonomous team, right? A team which runs a business, which has the capability of the development teams, the IT teams, and the business teams in a single project, right? And they build, run, and deploy operations for the customer based on market dynamics, based on the speed at which they need to make decisions, and this will bring in the agility which your customer is, expecting today. So this we can again, along with TAP, which we spoke about, and high touch and high tech is something which we practice in teleperformance. Together we will, we ensure that this, delivery kind of happens. Now for the digital shift, the essentials, right? So, but before we get into the essentials, you see all of these things were today, covered upon. Your big data, your blockchain, your, IoT, 5G, AR, VR, metaverse, omnichannel. But I want to start from here, right? Which is your total experience, right? Can I give a good experience to somebody if I don't go through the good experience? If I don't get a good experience, I don't think I can. For example, let's say I walk into office today and I don't have the required information or the tools to work properly, or I'm not happy with something. Don't you feel that it's going to flow out to the interactions that I'm going to have with my peers, with my customers, and everybody, right? So total experience is a concept that is currently being worked upon. It has 4 ingredients. One is your customer experience, which is your sum total of all the experience of the customer. Your employee experience, which is your employee's experience, day-to-day interaction, starting from hiring to till the time he exits. User experience, this is all the tools that you build, the usability of it, the functionality of it for both your customer as well as your employees. And multi-experience. Multi-experience is your touch, the physical feel, the actual feel, virtual feel, all kind of experiences put together, right? If we get this right, along with the usage of all these other tools, that is what will deliver customer experience, and that is what will bring about the actual innovation. Right, this is what I just spoke about. Moving to digital trust and security, right? This is a big market right now. Why? Because everything is virtual. A lot of people spoke about, how important security is. If we just look at the numbers, that is going to look at, we are looking at almost 18% growth, right, in the coming years. And from a BPO perspective, trust and safety is a new segment that is growing in, which looks as identity, trust. Okay, moving on, some of the applications of your AI, ML in the BPO world, as to, how we can actually use, for example, predictive call routing, conversational AIs. Now, let's look at a simple tool, right? We have been talking about, Exotel spoke about omnichannel. What does omnichannel do? Look at the transformation, right? You have a 9.45% year-on-year growth on income just by deploying this channel, right? You have 89% customer retention if you just deploy this channel. Now, metaverse, we all are talking about metaverse, right? So what can you do in the virtual world? You can have currencies, you can have your own avatar, you can buy assets, and you also have the digital humans. Hyper automation, which multiple colleagues spoke about, which is extremely important for innovation, and 5G, which is now getting launched in India. This will enable, this will happen because for metaverse, AR, VR, all these reality, you need to have a very, very low latency, right? Or else you do not get the actual experience. All right, so I just brought about 3 world examples, real life examples. The first one is TP Cloud Campus, right? This is a cloud-centric solution that we built. So starting from hiring, training, engaging, managing the teams, everything happens seamlessly, and we deliver, extremely good customer experience throughout. The benefits of this is, you can tap untapped pool from any point of the world. You can scale up or down, at your customers, whims and fancies. And obviously, you are eco-friendly. You're not adding on more facilities. Also, you promote sustainable and inclusive cultures. I brought 2 more interesting, examples. One is on the left is Walmart. Somebody was talking about Flipverse, which Flipkart is introducing. Walmart today has 50+ profiles, right? You select how your hair should look and how your outlook should be, and you start trying out accessories. And then you decide, by the way you look, if you feel good, you just go ahead and move them to your cart and you buy them. Then this is another company, a US company called Mountain Headgear, right? They are a sportswear company which produces goods for, mountaineering. They provide you virtual reality, options wherein you can go inside a tent virtually, feel how the tent will be in snow, how it will be in sand, wear a jacket, feel how the fitting is, all done through virtually. All right, now point was service innovation, right? But we needed to know all that to get to service innovation. There is no vanilla solution for service innovation. I can't say, okay, this solution will work or that solution will work. I came across a very interesting, framework, which is called the CXBMI. This is from Journal of Business Research. So there are 4 key questions for the innovation to become fruitful. What decisions were made? When were these decisions made? Who made these decisions? And why are these decisions made? And there are 2, key things that gets involved. What is your strategic orientation, right? What is your company, product or service looking at? Are you looking at cost? Are you looking at differentiating your service by having a, let's say, higher price strategy, but having a unique offer? Now, when you start aligning this to the customer's experience dimensions, which is your cognitive, physical, sensory, emotional, and social, and as the cycle keeps fitment running, you will come across what is needed, and from this you can pick and choose as to what you can work on. So this is a simple example of, let's say an outcome which was done for one of. So what does basically these colors indicate? You have the present contribution, you have the enhancement potential, but the yellow, the boxes there are to basically signify what you do. Yellow is something, an outcome that you will not normally invest on, right? You will want to defend. It's a decent investment, it's giving you what it's going to give, it's not going to enhance your customer experience, so it remains where it is. Now this green, right, what does this tell you? There are certain process changes which you do in your business today which will enhance your customer's experience as is. But these are only process changes, right? And beyond, it will not go beyond a limit. Now the darker green says, now if you want to really, substantially increase experience, you need to add certain new capabilities into your, either your price strategy or your service strategy. And when you do that, you will get significant, change in overall customer experience. And the red is basically, you don't need to action, because whatever you do in that space, the experience is now going to change. So you might as well take and, reallocate this. So some examples or potential examples of this could be, let's say in a social scenario or the social, CX dimension. Let's say a customer is browsing, right, for a certain product. What can you do? You can start populating things like, if you know the footprint of the customer's journey, you know who are the customer's, favorite influencers. You can, relate whether they are using it or who in the customer's network has bought a similar product. So that is one way of, influence the customers. So quickly, to win, just innovation is not going to be enough, right? So the landscape is changing, not just across service, but across everywhere. The market shift, right? BPOs, if you do not, at the heart, we have technology, performance, and transparency and security. When I'm talking about transparency and security, I'm not talking about in the general sense. Let's say a company had a breach, right? They should be able to talk about it openly and say how they fixed it. Because the way the scope is changing today, the red line which defined what I can outsource and what I cannot outsource is completely changing, right? So customer wants you to be, the companies want you to be more open. The future deals are going to be federation model, right? Where it's a build of strategic alliances, vertical, everything put together. You're going to be, they are going to look at buying not manpower. They're going to be looking at buying technology and innovation, right? And year-on-year efficiencies, which we already covered about. And now the actual measure is going to be what is the customer effort? What is the experience that got generated? Which means how many customers remained with me after you actually took over? Sourcing, right? Skill is going to change. Things are moving. It's not a labor-intensive market. For sourcing, it's going to get difficult. We need to get skilled people rather than just labor-intensive people. And location is going to become agnostic. It doesn't really matter whether you offshore or onshore, where you actually do the work, because there is a hybrid model, which is your work from home, work from office, and it's not hub and spoke delivery anymore. The edge here being the work from home essence. Now, just take a quick example which covers the strategy that I spoke about. Industry is telecom. The contract is only 18 months. It's no more 5 months, 3 years. It's no more 3 years, 5 years kind of contract, right? Look at the scope. They just want to modernize everything, right? But they want incentives for, they are ready to give you incentives for innovation. They want annual price reduction. And the governance is going to be joint. It does not mean that you run everything because it's outsourced and it's done. You're just going to present how the SLA was achieved. They are going to be involved in what you're doing. And it is going to cover all the scopes, right? This is what I spoke about, the red line. It's not about the call center or service assurance. It's going to cover all your other functions as well. And some of the tools, and the most important being the platform, which has to have the capability to continuously to adapt to redesigning of our processes. With this is the summary of what I just covered. I have a small video for you. Obviously, it will not play from here because it's adoption. This is a company called Soul Machines. This is from, it's a New Zealand-based company. They have come up with digital agents, right? This is the future, and it's going to happen very, very shortly. What does this do? If you actually look at, it captures your expressions, emotions, and it responds to you in that. With that, I would like to finish. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks a lot, sir. Please give him a huge round of applause.